Hello my sweet friends and welcome to DIY with Nadia. I'm Nadia and this little guy is Simba. And did you know that gnomes are huge this year? In the Dollar Tree where I got this sign, there was a full section of gnome goodies for Christmas. In today's video, we are making a zero fray Nadia method wreath using this little gnome and other few little things as decor. Without further ado, let's get started. Let's go over the supplies for this wreath. I'm going to be using 2 rolls of decoupage, one red, one green, and they are both 10 inches by 10 yards. You're going to need a pack of pipe cleaners. For the ribbon, I have some red, some buffalo check, and some holly. All of these are wired, 2.5 inches in width. And I chose the holly because my little gnome has a little holly right there, and I thought it would be really cute. So speaking of my gnome, this is the sign we're going to be using. For the base of the wreath, I'm going to be using a 14-inch metal wreath form. To cover the back of the wreath, I will be using a steering wheel cover. Now it's time to cut our decoupage, so let's talk numbers. Each one of our decoupage rolls is 10 yards. We're going to be cutting 15-inch strips, and that's going to give us 24 strips per each roll. With both rolls of decoupage, this gives us a total of 48 strips that we're going to make into sweet little no-fray bows. Measuring out 15 inches. Just like that, roll it naturally, and I have a laundry basket right on the floor next to me. I'm going to collect those right in there. Look at this guy. He took a dive into my decoupage because I took him off the table to cut the decoupage. So he decided to dive in and have fun with the decoupage. And now the red decoupage. All the decoupage is cut up, but there's a little surprise in the basket. This little kitten was so stubborn, didn't want to leave, so he just made himself a little room and stayed in the basket. Right, Simba? Next, I'm going to grab my pipe cleaners, fold them in half, and you're going to need 24 pipe cleaners. Cut them and then make a little V. This is just going to help you grab them as we're working along. Now it's time to make our sweet little bows. I'm just going to put my hands right in the center of our little decoupage and just kind of wiggle along until it's overlapping about 1.5 to 2 inches, depending on how straight your decoupage is. Grab both sides. You're going to put it vertically and just bring it down with the overlapping in the center. Whichever hand is on top, with one finger I'll be holding the top together, and then with the thumb I'm going to put that in the center. Because this is a long bow, you just want to make sure that it stays together. And now from the bottom, I'm just going to be collecting the bow right in the center where it's overlapping all the way up. I'm going to flip it. This is the smooth side. So this is where I'm coming in with my pipe cleaner, and then I'm going to make sure that it's nice and tight and do 2 twists. Here is our no fray bow from the top and the bottom. Our decoupage endings are right here, and then the other side is actually inside the little bow, and that's how you're going to get a nice beautiful bow. Let's make another one. I'm going to grab our decoupage piece and I'm going to go out until it's overlapping about 1.5 inches, maximum 2. Going from top to bottom, overlapping in the center. With one finger I'm going to hold the top, with my thumb I'm going to hold the center, and at the bottom I'm going to start collecting. And just collect in the center going all the way up, and then we're going to flip. This is our smooth end, and this is where the pipe cleaner is going. 2 twists, and we have our beautiful bow. I have made many of these Nadia method wreaths, and they really stand the test of time. Year after year, there's a certain wreath that I bring back, and it looks as good as it did when I just got done with it. They're just so good because you make this little bow, it stands together, and even the Dollar Tree ones that are 6 inch in width that I started with, those last just as long as these. This is a wonderful method if you want to make a wreath that is a no fray or zero fray wreath. All the bows are done, and now it's time to attach them to the wreath. If you want a wreath that's a tiny bit smaller, you attach them on row 2. For a little bigger wreath, or maybe you have a bigger sign, attach them on row 3, or basically on 2 and 3 also. What I want is I'm actually going to attach on row 2. If you want to attach on row 2, this center, just make sure it's on row 2 and then tie by row 3. And if you want it to be on row 3, just put that center on row 3 and tie it by row 2. So since I'm doing row 2, I'm going to tie it by row 3. And you're wondering, why don't I just tie it on row 2? That's absolutely fine. But I feel like if you're using 2 of the rows, it's just more stable. So I do like doing that. Next, let's talk about the order of things. I want my stripes to be a little bit on the bigger side, so I'm actually going to do 2 of the red, 2 of the green, 2 of the red, 2 of the green. In each section of the wreath, you're going to have 8 bows. You can get away with 7 if you want, but if you take 48 divided by the 6 sections, it's going to give you 8, so it's going to use up all your decoupage, which is nice. As far as our colors, I've done 2 colors where I'm just doing every other, and that's fine too, but in this case, I want it to be just a little bit thicker for each color so it stands out a little nicer. So I'm going to do 2 each as I go along. Another tip is when you're attaching these, it's easiest to attach from the back, so I just put my wreath form upside down and just attach and go on and on. I'm almost done with my first section, and of course it needs to be inspected. What do we think, Simba? I think that's a like. Look at this. This is just one section done. I absolutely love it. This is going to be so full and beautiful. And now I'm going to just continue adding my little bows all the way around. The wreath is all done. Now it's time to decorate. The first thing I'm going to do is make the bow for this side of the wreath. I'm going to be using a bow maker for this. You can always find this in the description below and in my Amazon shop. I'm going to get started with this beautiful 2.5-inch holly ribbon, a big long tail. This ribbon is one-sided, so I'm going to start by twisting right in the center right away, and I'm going to start by making a 5.5-inch loop. Once again, twisting in the center, 5.5 inches on this side, twist in the center. This is all I have left from this ribbon, so I am going to make a 3rd loop and just send my tail to this side. Next, I'm bringing in my buffalo check, and this is a double-sided ribbon, so we can just zigzag the loops right up. And you know what? I'm going to make 3 loops of this one too. Why not? I just found this beautiful holly ribbon. It's white with some gold on it, and of course little hollies, and it matches this ribbon so nicely. It is one-sided, so we're going to twist in the center. And it looks like it's going to be 3 with this one too. That's the nice thing about this bow, is that you can use up the ribbon we have on hand. And as you can see, this is not much. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make this as the centerpiece. I'm going to make a tail, so just one tail. Believe it or not, this is one-sided because this is fuzzy and this is a little bit on the matte side. So I'm going to make a loop, and I always like to have about 2 inches on the other side. And that is it for our bow. To bring this bow together, I'm grabbing a zip tie, and I like to prepare it right away so when you're taking it off, it's all sticking together. So let's do this first. Zip tie it together, cut off the tail. Now I'm grabbing a floral wire, wrapping it around my bow, twisting it. Before we attach the bow to the wreath, I'm going to go around and give all the tails dovetails. Fold them in half and cut on an angle towards the center of the ribbon. So little triangles. Attaching the bow right on top. Just 2 twists in the back. The most important thing is not to tighten the bow too much in the back so it sinks into your actual wreath. It's okay, keep it up. Right now, I'm not going to straighten the bow out as much as my hands really want to, because we're still going to flip this over. But now that we have our bow, we can decide where we want our sign. And I want the sign to be on the opposite side right there. I'm going to attach the pipe cleaners just on top and the bottom. Grabbing my pipe cleaners, going to fold them in half, make a little flat area in the center, a little bit of hot glue, pipe cleaner, then hot glue going from top to bottom, and my little piece of felt, just like that. Now let's attach the gnome. Let's see how that looks, and this looks good to me. I'm going to go back and just tighten things up. Now while we have this upside down, we need to do 2 things. We need to make a hanging loop. Grabbing a jute cord, I'm going to put it around row 2 and 3. Tie a few knots. Putting the knot on the inside, I'm going to pull the loop through the front of the wreath. Next, we're going to grab our steering wheel, and here's where your muscles come in. We are going to pull it, and when I mean pull it, just pull it really hard, because this is not so big comparing to my 14-inch wreath form. So what I like to do is when I put it on, I hold it in that one spot, and with the other hand, I just go around and loop it. Let's see if I can do it from the first time. Okay, that was good. The nice thing about it is it's covered. It looks so good. And if you need to fix something, you just pull this to the side and take care of whatever you need to take care of. Next, we're going to fluff up our bow. The red is going to be in the center. Everything else is just going to get floofed up. We're going to have a beautiful full bow. I'm still going to play with the bow, but here you go, the Nadia method wreath. Super easy to decorate, and so much fun to make. I hope you enjoyed this wreath. If you love videos like this, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the little bell button so you are notified every time we post a wreath. In the meantime, I attached a video that I think you might enjoy. Go ahead and click on it for more wreath tutorials. Thank you so much for being with us, and we will see you in our next video. Bye! Mwah!